Good morning. So I am back home in Dallas. It is a couple of days after Christmas, and I wanted to open this vlog. I meant to kind of start it a little bit before the holidays and have this be a full holiday vlog, but a couple days after Christmas, so I wanted to catch you up. So when I left off on my last vlog, I had finished A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was in the middle of the holiday swap. Still in the middle of the holiday swap. I read a bit more of that one. I think I'm like 2/3 of the way through, but not as much physical reading happening recently, so that's why that one's being a little bit slow. But I did listen to Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro after listening to A Court of Frost and Starlight, just to make sure I could listen to that before it needed to be returned to the library. And I don't think this one was for me. I can definitely appreciate why so many people love this. I don't know, I was personally just kind of bored listening to it, but this one follows Clara. She is kind of an AI companion and is a family kind of picks her to be the AI companion for their daughter who has some health issues, and so it's just about Clara and her being in this store where these AIs are, and her relationship to some of the other AIs and her experiences in the store, and then her going home with this family and being the companion to this girl, and just all the things that she observes about humans and observes about, and all the things that she learns while being this companion to this little girl. And it was definitely sweet. There were a lot of sweet moments. There were a lot of interesting insights that Clara has, and I can definitely appreciate it. I don't think it was for me. As I said, I was just a little bit bored throughout parts of it. But anyway, I did finish that on the plane ride coming back home, and I have since started Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmer. I'm really enjoying this one. This one is a YA fantasy that follows Tessa and Korik. You get their two main perspectives, and there is a disease going around this kingdom, this place where they live. There are different sectors, and two of the sectors grow some sort of flower or some sort of plant that is a remedy to this sickness going on. And so the two people who control those different sectors have a lot of power, and one of them in particular is pretty cruel and just power hungry. And you follow Tessa is someone who steals medicine from the rich and kind of distributes it to people who can't afford it. And you also follow Korik, who is the prince and the brother of the king, the younger brother of a pretty young king, and their parents were killed before the story starts. And so this Korik is the younger brother of the king, and so he is trying to figure out with his brother how to distribute medicine, how to kind of appease the people who control these sectors that grow this medicine, but also try to make sure they can distribute it, but also try to make sure he's also trying to figure out. So there are riots starting to happen. The supply vans of this petal of this flower are starting to be attacked. So there's definitely starting to be a lot of unrest, and so he's also trying to figure out how to handle that. And he's also not just the king's brother, but he's also the king's justice, and so he kind of does some of the king's dirty work as far as trying to figure out how they can have these supply vans of this medicine stuff not be attacked. And so they have a lot to figure out of how to get medicine to as many people as possible while keeping people in power appeased so that they don't just stop producing this medicine, but also try to figure out how to keep as many people happy as possible under the circumstances. So it's definitely very interesting. I'm actually like 3/4 of the way through, but I'll chat a little bit more about it later. I need to get downstairs and get to work, but Yeah, so it's definitely been very interesting so far. So my goals so far this week are to finish Defy the Night before I need to return the audiobook, continue with the holiday swap and continue reading that physically. I also am hoping to read In a Holidays. I have the audiobook of that one, so hopefully I can read that as well. And I do also still want to read the last Regency romance novella that's in the How the Dukes Stole Christmas collection. I've actually have started the last one, and I'm actually really enjoying it so far. I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and get this vlog started, and I will check in later. Hey, it's a couple of days later, so I wanted to catch you up. First of all, I messed up. So I wasn't paying close enough attention to exactly when my hold for Defy the Night, the audiobook of Defy the Night, would go back to the library. And it got returned. And I had like 15% left. So devastating. I do have a physical copy, is the good news. So it's back in my apartment. So I won't be able to actually read the rest of that until the new year when I'm around my physical copy. But I do at least have that physical copy, and I can finish it out once I get back. Again, I didn't have much left. I was really enjoying it, so I was quite bummed that I wasn't paying close enough attention and that it got returned. But it is what it is. And then for my next audiobook after that, I decided to pick up In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, and I'm about more than half, almost two-thirds of the way through that one, and it's been really cute so far, honestly. I've heard mixed things about this one. Also, don't mind the vacuum that is about to be pounding on the door. Um, I had heard mixed things, and people saying that they kind of wanted more from this one, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I just wanted a cute, fun time, and that's exactly what I'm getting. And so you follow our main character who is going on a vacation with her parents and some longtime friends of theirs. Like their two families have been friends for a long time, and every Christmas they go to this cabin in Utah. And so, beginning of the story, we follow, our main character has made a mistake and kind of drunkenly made out with one of the guys that is, one of the sons of her parents' friends, when really she's actually been interested for a long time in that guy's brother. And so she's freaking out, and they're about to leave the cabin, and the cabin is actually the family that owns it. Their parents' friends who own this cabin are actually about to sell it just because there's a lot in terms of maintenance to do with this cabin that needs to get done, and they just they can't really keep up with it anymore. So they're about to sell the cabin, and that's part of what goes on as they're figuring everything out, is that this cabin is about to be sold. So this is the last time that these two families will be able to actually uh, have Christmas together in this cabin. And they're on the way back to the airport, going back after this vacation, and our main character, there's a car accident, and our main character kind of gets bumped back 6 days to when their family's on the way to this vacation. And she's trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, what is happening? And she ultimately gets kicked back to that point multiple times, and she's trying to figure out what she can do to kind of actually live out these days and move past this vacation and figure out what the universe is telling her to do. She wanted the universe to show her what she could do to be happy. And so, she's trying to figure out what decisions she can change and what she can do to make herself happy, and what she needs to change about this vacation in order to not get kicked back to the beginning of this vacation. And, so she's starting to shake things up a little bit, both with her personal life. She's not really happy with her job. She's trying to figure out whether or not she should tell the guy that she has feelings for that's at this cabin. you know, she's wondering how she should, or, if she should tell him how she feels. And so she's kind of going through different things and figuring out what to do, but also figuring out at what point she should stop trying different things because she doesn't want to completely mess up again, thinking that she'll just go back to the beginning of the vacation and she can redo it. She doesn't know at what point she won't be able to have a redo. And so, but it's just fun. I enjoyed the main character, and I just enjoy going through this vacation with them, enjoy hanging out with the cabin with these two families. It's just been fun. It's been fun. Of course, you have to suspend a lot of disbelief, but it's cute and it's been really entertaining. And I'm having a good time with it. I'm also about 50 pages from the end of Holiday Swap. I don't know if you can kind of see it on the bedside table right there. I'll hold it up later when I do the next clip, but I'm about 50 pages from the end of the Holiday Swap. And I think I talked a little bit about this in my last vlog, but I haven't actually talked about this one much in this one. I've just mentioned that I'm reading it. But just to recap on what it's about, you follow a couple of twins, and one works on a baking show in LA, and one is in their hometown a few hours away from LA, and they run the family bakery. And so the one who is on the baking show, and she's a host on this baking show, and she works with a rival, and they're trying to figure out who is going to be the host for this next baking show, and so they're kind of in competition with each other. Something happens backstage, and she gets a concussion, like some pots, pans fall on her head. She gets a concussion, and her sense of taste and smell go away. So she needs to switch with her twin so that her twin can finish out the competition for her with her sense of taste and smell, and then she'll go back home and run the bakery. And of course, things get complicated, and they both start falling for people in the place where they've kind of switched lives with their twins, and so they don't want to pursue that too far because they're about to go back to their regular life, but they're also trying to figure out what they actually want in their life. And again, it's been cute, it's been fine, it's been fun. Again, you have to suspend a lot of disbelief with this one in particular. Like, apparently zero people can tell these twins apart. Like, not even the person who was running the twin who was running the bakery back in their hometown, she was even in a long-term relationship with someone who was ready to propose, and he even apparently cannot tell the difference between these two twins. Like, what? What even? And of course, there are some things that I'm like, you could solve this by just communicating. But it's definitely cute and festive and just kind of a good time. I'm not looking for anything um, too serious or thought-provoking right now. I just want a fun holiday romance. So that's what this week has been about. And yeah, definitely, I'm having a good time with it. We'll see how the last 50 pages goes. Um, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm having a good time with them. The other things that I'm working on, I haven't read much more in that Regency romance novella, but I'm going to be reading more of that. I'm also hoping that I can finish Holiday Swap and In Holidays soon so that I can finish that novella as well as listen maybe to Greenhouse Glass or Green Glass House, which is also a very Christmassy read, even though it's a little bit after Christmas. It's not quite New Year's. Tomorrow is going to be New Year's Eve, and I do have the day off of work. And so, hopefully I can get some reading done. I also have, there's so much booktube to catch up on. There's so much content coming up right now that I really want to catch up on. So, I'll probably be reading, bullet journaling, and listening to YouTube videos while my mom works tomorrow. I think my dad has off as well, but anyway, we'll see what tomorrow brings. But yeah, those are the plans. Um, I actually recorded a segment like this earlier today, but I'm filming this on a new phone, and I think the camera quality is better, which is the good news. But the mic that I was plugging in and using on my old phone wasn't working well with this one, so I'm actually using my Bluetooth headphones and the microphone that is on them. So we'll see. But anyway, yeah, I will check in later once more reading has happened. Oh, hey, it has been quite a bit of time since I
have updated this vlog. I meant to continue on during the holidays and just didn't. I'm back in my apartment now, and then things also got busy after that. I was dog sitting, blah blah blah. But I am back and wanted to go ahead and wrap up this vlog so that I could very belatedly get it up and talk about the rest of my reads in December. So I did end up enjoying the end of In the Holidays. It's just fun, just cute, fun, had a good time with it. There were a couple of things about the end of the holiday swap that I didn't love as much. There was one situation where I mean, I was already suspending a lot of disbelief, as I typically do in romances. I can suspend quite a bit of disbelief in romance novels. But there was one thing where I was like, literally, no one would react this way in that situation. Like that would no. Why would she do that? And there was another situation at the very end where I was just like, why though? Why? So there were a couple of things about the end that bugged me, but overall, just fun, cute. I had a good time with it. I did finish the last novella in that Regency era romance novella collection. And this one was super fun. I don't think I actually talked about what the final novella was about. You follow, I'm blanking on the main character, like the characters' names in this one, but you follow a woman who is wanting to be a newspaper reporter. Of course, that's not, this is, obviously way back when, that wasn't really a thing back then. And she was able to get work as a columnist, an advice columnist at this newspaper, though. And she is pretending to be an older married woman and giving advice to women on just life things, cooking, cleaning, just life advice, relationship advice, what have you. And she's pretending to be older and married. And what people don't know is that she's actually a young single female who lives in kind of a boarding house. And and so she one day her there's kind of a scandal at the newspaper. Doesn't involve her, but there's kind of a scandal at the newspaper. And in that aftermath, her boss gets fired, and he tells her to kind of talk to the person who owns the newspaper because he doesn't want this scandal to kind of affect her column in any way. So she goes to talk to him, and he basically says, "Look, our board of directors is very pissed off right now. You seem to be very knowledgeable about throwing a kind of nice party. What if we threw them a nice holiday party and kind of appeased them and made them happy in the midst of this scandal so that they don't freak out too much? And, if you don't do this, basically, your position could be compromised. Your position at the paper could be compromised." And so she's like, okay, fine. And so she has to find a place to host this dinner, has to find the staff to help out with said dinner. She has to pretend to be kind of this noble, or not really noble, but like, she has to pretend to be kind of this lady of society. And so she also needs to hire a husband because people are under the impression that she's married, even though they found out that she's a little bit younger. They still think that she's married. So she needs to find a fake husband, a fake house, and fake staff for a night. She does manage to pull this off. Uh, but things kind of things go wrong in the course of the evening, and you know it kind of goes from there. And I don't want to say too much again because it's a novella, but it's her getting to know the owner of this newspaper, and uh, coming to terms with being honest with her readers, or whether or not she should talk more about her identity. Um, you know, does she want to continue working at this newspaper? Anyway, so she's kind of thinking through all of this and is starting to fall in love with the person who runs the newspaper. Anyway, it was super cute. I really, really enjoyed this one. I like our main character a lot. I just thought it was fun. It was super entertaining. And I just really liked the setup. I liked how it was executed. I just thought it was a fun, quick novella. So definitely would recommend that set of novellas overall. I thought they were super fun. I also did read a nonfiction while I was back home. I did read Food is Climate, and this is by Glenn Mercer. And this is a nonfiction about climate change, and he's trying to question the narrative of, he's saying there's a lot that's going to be needed for climate change, but he's saying the narrative of focusing solely on renewable energy and on changing the energy portfolio is misguided, and that landscape change and kind of agriculture, landscape, land use, sea, and ocean management are going to be far more critical than that narrative leads you to believe, and that the main overarching thing that can help resolve a lot of these interlocking issues is a vegan diet from as many people as possible across the planet, is essentially his argument. And so he's trying to go through some of the numbers and some of the research and some of the thought process on how a vegan diet can interacts with a bunch of these different issues, and how those numbers actually are far more important to the overall picture of climate change um, than you might think. Very interesting, very thought-provoking. I definitely want to look into his sources as well and do more research on this. So very interesting, would highly recommend to everyone, and particularly if you're interested in the issue of climate change. So that is what I read in December. I did also, when I got back, I did physically finish the last little bit of Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer that I had not been able to finish via audio when the audiobook was returned to the library. And I really enjoyed that one a lot. And I'm very excited for the next one. So I believe I kind of set up what it was about. So I'm not going to say too much more, I think, other than to say that I just had a really fun time with it. And I think it was, I don't know, felt like for a YA fantasy, felt the characters felt pretty real. Like people would kind of react, seems reasonable to react that way in these situations. Not perfect characters, but very understandable reactions and motivations, and just had a fun time with it. And I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen in the next book. Is it going to be a duology? I'm not sure. But anyway, I had fun finishing that. And then I think I also decided I had been starting with the audiobook of Our Violent Ends by Chloe Gong, but I actually ended up deciding to just kind of scrapping that just for the moment, not any sort of DNF or anything, but just scrapping it for the moment just to focus on my January TBR. The audiobook was close to being returned anyway. I didn't have much time with it, and so it would have been a rush to finish it anyway. And I was like, no, I have enough books on my January TBR. I should just focus on that. Hopefully, I can get it on a TBR maybe next month. But um, otherwise, I then fully switched to my January TBR. I will link my January TBR below, since that has come out since filming this clip. And since finishing a vlog from over the holidays, my January TBR, my new TBR game, is up. So if that is at all of interest, those are the books that I'm now turning to. Anyway, I hope you had a fantastic end of December, early January, whatever you do or don't celebrate. I hope you had a good time recently. And yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll be sure to link my Twitter and Instagram down below. That's where I like to hang out. I will be sure to leave more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.